Good evening, everybody. My name is Peter Ramirez. I'm a 1988 graduate of the law school, and as the president of the Law Alumni Association, let me welcome you to Marquette Law School's annual awards ceremony in the best law building in the country, Eckstein Hall. Beautiful, isn't it? This is truly a special evening, and we are honored that you could join us at this gathering to recognize the wonderful, exemplary professionalism and service demonstrated by Marquette lawyers. The individuals being honored tonight have responded to the call to to do more, not only in their legal careers, but also in their aspirations to do more for others. They're giving meaning and impact to the phrase Marquette lawyer. Here at Marquette, we like to say be the difference, and they are doing just that. As we listen to their stories, let us ask ourselves, what more can we do as we consider our own careers and our own communities? Each year that I attend this event, I am inspired. So before we start, please make sure that your cell phones are off or on silent. In fact, I'm going to make sure that mine is. And it is, okay. And now it is my great honor and pleasure to welcome and introduce the 24th president of Marquette University, Dr. Michael Lovell. We are privileged to have him join us this evening. Please join me in welcoming him with a round of applause.
Well, thank you, Peter, for your introduction and your leadership on the Law School's Alumni Board. I want to welcome all of you here this evening and thank you for being part of our National Alumni Awards weekend. And we get to see some of the best things about Marquette University when we hear the story of our impressive graduates. And Gabashu, it's been quite a week here at Marquette University, and particularly at the law school. I'm sure all of you have heard about the tremendous gift that the Lubar family has given. If you look just behind me, they've already updated. It's the Lubar Center around Public Policy Forum. So it's very exciting. And I really want to congratulate the law school for this fabulous gift, and truly a tribute to Joe and his entire team here. And we're just not a leader around public policy and discussions locally, but we are now becoming a national leader. And I think about how innovative the law school has been and how it's been changing the way it does things, and focusing on public policy and having people like Mike Goucher and Charles Franklin, Alan Borsick, David Striffling in water, Nathan Hammond around entrepreneurship. We're bringing in new and different things in the law school and understanding how we can play a role in helping solve or discuss some of the most important problems facing our society. And this gift is just another way, just another symbol of the great changes and positive changes that are happening, right here in Eckstein Hall. But one thing about tonight, it just reminds us that there's something that is not changing here at Marquette University, and that's the incredible quality of the graduates we have here tonight. And we really are producing alumni that are going out and changing the world. And tonight we have 4 more individuals that are really making me so proud to lead this university and be associated with Marquette University. And I really deeply appreciate your leadership in service to others, and that really is the pillars of what Marquette education means and what Marquette's mission is. I can go on and on about the great things that they're doing, and you're going to hear more about them in a few minutes, but I just want to highlight some of the ways that they are impacting the broader community right here in Milwaukee and around the country. Susan Allen, for example, volunteers with the Milwaukee Justice Center, the Junior League of Milwaukee, and the Holstein Street Clinic. Kate McChrystal also is involved with the Milwaukee Jewish Center. She's a former president and founding member of the AIDS Resource Center of Wisconsin's Union Board and volunteers at the Highland Community School. Thomas Olejniczak is president of the New Community Shelter in Green Bay, the largest homeless shelter in Brown County. He also serves the Casa Alba Melanie Hispanic Resource Center and is part of the regional leadership for the Equestrian Order of the Holy Sepulchre of Jerusalem. And Chief Judge Maxine White, it could be said, serves every resident in the state of Wisconsin. The last time I saw Judge White, or maybe the last time I saw him, she was receiving the Law Enforcement Leader Award from Safe and Sound right here in Milwaukee. And I can tell you, I've been to a lot of community award ceremonies, but I don't think there had ever been a louder ovation than when Judge White was introduced. So why is their emphasis on service so important? And I think we can just turn to the words of Judge White when she, on the issues nearly a decade ago, and I'm quoting her, she said, "Recognize that you're not on an island. You can work as hard as you want to try to get as much money as you want, and I guarantee you, you're not going to be really happy. And you're definitely not going to be successful if you don't help somebody else." Are there any truer words for what it means to be Marquette than to live your life in service to others? So I want to thank Maxine, Thomas, Kate, and Susan for showing us what the difference is and what a Marquette graduate can do when they go out into the world, and recognize that none of us should be on an island and we should be working for those less fortunate ourselves. So my many thanks to all of you gathering here today and celebrating which is so great about Marquette University, which is our outstanding graduates. And I hope you all have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you, President Lovell. Mike has understated just a little bit the extent of his own involvement in the Lubar gift. It is a great privilege to work with all my colleagues at the university. I want to join Peter Ramirez and President Lovell in welcoming everyone to this most special annual event. We claim many partners and friends at Marquette University Law School. Yet, with the exception only of our students, no group is more important to us than our alumni, the community of Marquette lawyers. This is so for almost countless reasons, but a primary one lies in their, or your, being models and inspirations. Looking at the contributions that Marquette lawyers make to the profession and beyond is how we in Eckstein Hall know that our work today will have been important tomorrow, indeed decades hence. So each year we celebrate the accomplishments of all our alumni and the ideal of the Marquette lawyer by presenting awards to a small group of individuals who have helped exemplify our best traditions or aspirations. Against that backdrop, let me turn to tonight's 4 award winners, as selected by our alumni associations. I will begin with the Sports Law Alumna of the Year. We present this year's Charles W. Mentkowski Award, as it is called, to Susan Allen of our class of 2006. Susan's connection with the sports law program is unusual. Never before could I say that the award winner was part of the program even before becoming a Marquette law student. As an undergraduate, Susan assisted Professor Paul Anderson with events. This was a precursor to her, well, coming to run the place. That may be a bit overstated, but as a law student, Susan was involved in every aspect of the sports law program. This culminated in her 3rd year when she was a member of the National Sports Law Moot Court team and executive editor of the Marquette Sports Law Review. Susan's engagement in the sports law program as an alumna has been no less exemplary and scarcely much less extensive. Today, she is a partner at Stafford Rosenbaum in its Milwaukee office. That is the formal title. Around here, we know her as a judge at our moot court competitions, an alumna coach of our sports law moot court teams, a frequent participant in our sports law alumni career panels, and an indefatigable recruiter of students admitted to Marquette Law School. And that is to provide some representative examples, not an exhaustive list. It is not even to mention, say, Susan's support of our long-running summer CLE program, which we now offer in partnership with Summerfest. Susan has waved the Marquette flag in the profession more generally. Consider her work in the sports and entertainment law section of the State Bar of Wisconsin. I have focused on the Marquette Law School and sports law aspects of Susan's work, before, during, and after her being a student here. More generally, she is a first-rate lawyer. Indeed, for a while this winter, it appeared that she might not be here tonight, but she had the only acceptable excuse. A case that she was handling for a client had a trial scheduled out of town. I understand that it's settled, and I hope that you did not disadvantage your client too much in settling the case. And Susan is an engaged citizen beyond the legal profession, serving on a number of nonprofit boards, such an important part of our civil society. Susan, would you please come to the middle here as I conclude? Susan, you are a resource for the directors of our sports law program, a model and a mentor for students in the program, and a prominent example, as Professor Anderson put it to me, of how the sports law program, like Marquette University Law School more generally, helps students prepare themselves to become not just good lawyers for their clients, but so much more for the legal and broader community. It is a great privilege for us to present you with this year's Charles W. Mentkowski Sports Law Alumni Award. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, Dean Kearney. I appreciate the kind words, and now I'm going to expect my husband to say nice things about me every day when I come home. It's a great honor to receive this award from the law school and from the Sports Law Institute, and I thank the law school and the Sports Law Institute and Professors Anderson and Mitten in particular for this award. I also want to thank my family, my parents, my husband, who support me all the time in what I do. It's a privilege to be a Marquette lawyer, and it's very nice to hear that people recognize the service that we do, but it's part of who we are. I did work here, not here, unfortunately. I worked in the old building for the dean's office for 3.5 years when I was in undergrad, and what I learned in doing that, I had gone in thinking, I'm gonna go away to law school someplace else, and what I learned there was what it is to be a Marquette lawyer because of the professors, because of the students, and because of the alumni. And so that's the reason that I decided to stay, because it really fit what I think is important, and it is a great honor to be recognized for the very little that I can do to give back here. Thanks.
Thank you, Susan. Our second award is the Howard B. Eisenberg Service Award. It is presented this year to Kate McChrystal of our class of 2010, December of 2010, so that she got to spend one semester in Eckstein Hall. Kate may have known someone involved in the building project. Here at the beginning, by the way, is probably as good a time as any for me once again to note that it is the members of the Law Alumni Association Board who choose the winners of our annual Alumni Awards, lest anyone think that I engage in any favoritism here. To be sure, without suggesting that it was easy, we have so many great Marquette lawyers, I do imagine that the Law Alumni Association Board found this choice to be a compelling one. In the words of two of her nominators, Kate is an exemplar of the qualities recognized by the Howard B. Eisenberg Service Award. So much supports her receiving this award. I will give you just a flavor of this from her nominations. To begin, and most fundamentally perhaps for purposes of this award, Kate is an active and longtime volunteer with the Marquette Volunteer Legal Clinic, or legal clinics, as we have necessarily come to call them. We tend to focus on the MVLC's benefits to the clients, and I will get there, but her nominators also rightly noted that this work by volunteer lawyers, such as Kate, provides learning and mentoring opportunities for law students who are volunteering alongside the lawyers. I very much agree with that. As important as the classroom is, how better for a student to learn the ideals and the spirit of Marquette lawyers than by working side by side with some such in pro bono representation. Kate's work began with our clinic site at the House of Peace, but it expanded when we opened another clinic site, the Milwaukee Justice Center, providing brief legal advice on family law issues. Family law is among the top areas of legal need among low-income clients in Milwaukee. It is also Kate's area of expertise. She practices family law as a partner at Gagne, McChrystal, DiLorenzo, and Burghardt here in Milwaukee. So her advice truly is expert, as two nominators noted. But these individuals further explained that Kate especially feels the humanity of the matter. In their words, she, quote, brings an approach of care, kindness, and non-judgment to every client conference. A different nominator made a similar observation and suggested that Kate's, quote, ability to build immediate and positive rapport with a diverse array of clientele draws from her exceptional work as a teacher, a profession she pursued prior to beginning law school. Whether that is its origin, a relational element is an essential characteristic of excellent lawyering, which may rest on abstract principles, but must engage with the human condition. Kate's nominators, as I have noted, there were many, included one of her opposing counsel. This person wrote not only of Kate's general professionalism and volunteer service in the law, but her civic engagement more generally. Kate is, for example, a former president and founding member of the Junior Board of the AIDS Resource Center of Wisconsin and a member of the center's development committee. There can be no doubt that she is an emerging leader in the legal profession and the more general sphere of civic life here in Milwaukee. Kate, would you please come to the middle as I conclude? Let me do so by borrowing the words of one of your nominators, who captures both the particular legal expertise and the more general human and civic engagement. Kate, you are a person who seeks to include others and offer your best to make them feel comfortable and welcome. Personality traits that allow you to be an exceptional volunteer attorney and to experience success in the family law arena, a field of law that can be extremely contentious. And you further are, through your legal expertise and your outreach and caring for those who are embattled, a source of support and advocacy within the lives of individuals and the life of your community more generally. You are a most worthy recipient of the Howard B. Eisenberg Service Award.
Thank you, Dean Kearney, for those kind words. So I'm nervous. I'm not a public speaker. And so, of course, I looked to my 4-year-old last night for advice on what I should say. And she said to me, being on stage is fun and also nervous, but we're brave chicks, Mommy. And she's right. And it reminds me that so much of what we do as lawyers is about bravery, right? We encounter people that are scared for whatever circumstances, whatever they're going through, and our job is to be brave, and our job is to take them through that fear. And that's a skill that I learned here at Marquette Law School. The focus that Marquette Law School puts on interaction with people going through legal problems is so important. You know, as Dean Kearney touched on, we learn so much in the classroom, and that's important. But really what our job is about interacting with people. And that's the skill that you learn in doing public service work, I think. So I'm so grateful to the law school and to everybody here that helped to foster those skills in me. I'm so thankful to my partners who are creative and empathetic, and particularly to my partner, Marty Gagnes, who's here. And I worked for Marty as an associate before we became partners. And I worked for him because I basically stalked him my last year of law school. I knew I wanted to work for him, and so I followed him around and sent him notes and made my husband befriend his wife. And it was either going to be, as my husband says, a restraining order or a job, and luckily it worked out fine. But from my first week working at Marty's firm, he was totally okay with me taking the time to do pro bono work. He recognized the importance of that, the importance of reaching out to the community and the skills that you develop as an attorney by doing that. And so I am thankful to him as my mentor for helping to instill that quality in me. I'm so thankful to my friends and family who write checks and go to fundraisers and help out so much, scaring up silent auction items and all the crazy things I ask them to do. And of course, to my parents who always have supported me, Deirdre and Mike and Ellen and Gordy and Lisa, thank you. And my grandma, Mary Aileen, the Irish Queen, who's here from Michigan. And finally to my husband, who never, ever, ever says, maybe that's a little bit too much. He always says, how can I help? And it just means the world to me. So thank you.
Thank you, Kate. It is an honor to present our Lifetime Achievement Award this year to Tom Olejniczak of our class of 1974. Certainly a primary calling card for this award must be the recipient's professional accomplishments. In Tom's case, as with most of our alumni, in the practice of law. Tom's own practice has been remarkably varied, including making numerous arguments in Wisconsin's Court of Appeals and Supreme Court, engineering countless business formations and transactions, helping so many individuals with estate planning, and counseling Catholic communities and other nonprofit organizations. And even that broad level of characterization is to omit the bulk of the work of a lifetime in the law. Tom has also supported the careers of numerous other lawyers. In 1976, he helped found the firm now known as Conway, Olejniczak, and Jerry. It has come to set the standard for the practice of law in Green Bay and to be admired more broadly yet. Tom has served as managing partner of the firm and as a mentor and model much more generally. His partners, many of them recalling their earlier days as junior associates at the firm, cite his legal work, from pro bono service to local homeless shelters and other charities, to highly sophisticated corporate advice for the region's largest and highest profile businesses. But they also cite his steady reassurance as they learn to, quote, cope with the strains and stresses associated with a legal career. The result has been that, quote, no law firm is more highly regarded and respected in Northeast Wisconsin. That's a statement, by the way, from one of his clients. And after 20 years in Wisconsin, I too know how accurate that is. So Tom's work in the legal profession has been extensive, excellent, and varied. His civic engagement is, if anything, even more impressive. Truly, I'm not referring to any association with the Green Bay Packers, although there has been a little bit of that. Some of Tom's work has been very high profile. Tom, an alumnus of St. Norbert College, has served the university as legal counsel, trustee, and chair of its board. The current president attributes St. Norbert's strength today in considerable part to Tom's commitment to not just fiscal responsibility, but long-term planning, and to his appreciating that all this, to be successful, had to be in partnership with a succession of presidents, fellow trustees, and university colleagues. But other of Tom's work has been less high profile, or for organizations less visible than pro football teams and prominent colleges, homeless shelters, local cystic fibrosis organizations, Green Bay's Hispanic Community Resource Center. All of these benefited from Tom's engagement, and the examples could be multiplied. One of his nominators says that, quote, so many of the region's charitable and civic organizations have been the grateful beneficiaries of Tom's tireless integrity, advocacy, and energy, and that Tom is never a figurehead supporter, but a person actively engaged and wholly committed to any project he undertakes. So in addition to a leading lawyer, we have in Tom Olejniczak a public citizen and volunteer of the first rank. Yet I want to note that it is in Tom's quieter service and one-on-one relations that we especially get a sense of how treasured he is. His service to the Catholic Church is near legendary in Green Bay. He has the respect and gratitude of every person at his firm, not just the lawyers. He is devoted to his family. He has, in the words of one of his nominators, built a life around the practice of law. Tom, would you please come up here as I conclude? I'm going to give that last nominator the last word. The person wrote, "This profession can be all-consuming at times, but it is not the whole of Tom's life. Tom does not measure his success as a lawyer by his victories or wealth, but rather by his ability to support his family, benefit his community, give back to his church, and mentor a new generation of lawyers in his firm." On this substantial basis, we would ask you, Tom, to please accept the Marquette University Law Alumni Association's Lifetime Achievement Award.
Let me start out by saying I have not talked to Ted Thompson today. So I can't tell you what's going to happen around 10:30, but it's always an interesting proposition. You know, none of these awards are won by oneself. And let me first thank the Law Alumni Board and those that nominated me. But more importantly, I want to thank Jesus Christ for my deep faith. I want to thank my lovely wife, Dawn, who's been my rock. I want to thank my kids. They've always stood by me and been really a great part of what makes being a father and a grandfather so special. I want to thank Rosemary Bruner, who has been with me for 38 years. So I've been married for 46 and had one secretary for 37. I think that's doing pretty good. I also want to thank Father Jim Braniak, who's here. Father Jim is, I'll confess, he's my confessor, my good friend, and he's been a really important part of our family. And then I want to thank all the lawyers in our firm. They took a bus down today, so we're going to have a little party afterwards. But they are such a special group of people, and I've always had the sincere and I guess desire that if you're going to practice law, a profession that is very demanding, full of stress and anxiety, you have to make the place where you work a place that's a family-oriented place. And I've tried to do that with our law firm. And I just think we got the best thing going, and we feel like we're a family. You know, for those of us who are old enough to remember Ray J. Aiken, don't you see, don't you see? The one thing I remember from the first day of class in civil procedure when we all were shaking in our boots was he said that the law is a noble profession and no one who goes through this law school should ever feel anything less than believing that the law is a noble profession. And I've tried to do that through my whole life. We all heard lawyer jokes and things like that, but I think that the Marquette law experience to me was a great teacher in determining how I could use the law to help others. And I think that in that regard, I would not be able to do the things I have been able to do without the support of my firm, my family, and all those around me. So I humbly accept this award. It was truly a surprise to me. I looked in the mirror and didn't think I was as old as I was, but I thank you very much, and God bless all of you.
Thank you, Tom. Our final award this evening, the longest standing of our Alumni Awards, is that for Alumnus or Alumna of the Year. This year, that Marquette lawyer is the Honorable Maxine Aldridge White. Judge White's personal story alone is compelling. She grew up in Mississippi, the 8th of 11 children born to grade school educated parents. Education was her greatest interest, and she graduated with honors at both the bachelor's and master's level, the first at Alcorn State University and the second at the University of Southern California. She distinguished herself here at Marquette University Law School as well, serving, for example, as a member of the Law Review and receiving top honors for her performance in constitutional law. She arrived to the practice of law with great energy. Maxine White does nothing without great energy, and served as an assistant United States attorney for the Eastern District of Wisconsin. She attracted attention and provided service well beyond the district through her work, for example, as a legal advisor and instructor for the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center located in Georgia. Yet it is as a judge, a position that she has now held for some 25 years, that Maxine White found her true calling. And her contributions go so far beyond personal accomplishments or even ordinary professional success. She is, in the characterization of two of her colleagues, who were among her nominators, a once-in-a-lifetime sort of judge. How so? Well, without doubt, this begins in the courtroom, with excellence as a trial judge. Judge White has distinguished herself across the extraordinary spectrum of cases in the Milwaukee County Circuit Court: criminal, civil, family law cases. Judge White has presided over all of them. These have included serious violent felonies, from homicides to sexual assaults, drug sales to domestic violence. She has handled some of the court's most complex civil cases, including those presenting questions of first impression. There is no greatness without intelligence, experience, and hard work. But more is involved. Some of her nominators captured it well, so permit me a lengthy quote from their letter. Judge White has a judicial temperament that is a rare combination of compassion, decisiveness, and commitment to equal justice. A judge's temperament is part inbred and part learned, and we believe that the learned part grows mainly out of respect. The temperament of a judge who respects the solemnity of the task and the dignity of the parties becomes a tool for generating trust and confidence in the courts as a whole. A good judicial temperament is not about personality, but about a commitment to justice and respecting all who seek its access. Judge White is profoundly committed to ensuring access to justice and respecting those who seek it. End quote. We are not alone in recognizing Judge White's greatness. 2 years ago, the Wisconsin Supreme Court appointed her as the new chief judge of our state's most important trial court, the First Judicial District, better known as the Milwaukee County Circuit Court. And may I say that, quite apart from any nomination papers, I have been so impressed by her service as chief judge. Partly it is the initiatives in which she and other leaders in our justice system are engaged. She will be back here in the Lubar Center, as we now gratefully call it, in less than a month on the issues with Mike Goucher, together with District Attorney John Chisholm and First Assistant State Public Defender Tom Reed. She will discuss the court's use in recent years of evidence-based risk tools to help guide bail decisions. This is an important initiative supported by grant funding and closely watched around the country. It has attracted attention and engendered a variety of views. It is an important public policy matter. And, for the point especially relevant here, it reflects that Judge White has no hesitation to sort through competing claims by her best lights, make a decision, and explain it to those interested in engaging, not just with respect to individual cases, but on matters within her authority as chief. I can touch only lightly on Judge White's service to the broader legal profession beyond the Milwaukee County Circuit Court, but it is extraordinary. One example being her simultaneously having led a state task force on racial profiling and a state task force on judicial selection. And my emerita colleague, Professor Phoebe Williams, wrote powerfully about Maxine White's service to the law school over the years. I think it better in a moment for me to yield my time to Judge White. Judge, would you please come up here as I conclude? Judge White, as one of your nominators put it, you have overcome barriers and challenges in life and the legal profession that most of us must only imagine. That may have been true from the beginning, but for some 25 years you have done this in what I would characterize as the heart of the legal profession, and certainly the justice system in this region, the state's largest and most important trial court. You are an example of the excellence, faith, leadership, and service that Marquette University rightly seeks as its mission to enable and engender. We ask you respectfully to please accept this award as our Alumna of the Year.
As I said to Kate, we should have brought some Kleenex with us. I want to thank you, Dean Kearney, President Ramirez, who's appeared before me many times in court, to the officers and members of the Marquette Law Alumni Board. I'm so humbled by this honor because it is one quite different than other honors that I've received, and I've been so grateful for each one that I've received over the last 2.5 decades and even before as a federal prosecutor. This one touches me especially because when you are chosen by people who know you, your colleagues and your friends, people you studied with, you know, you took their Cliff Notes, you've practiced law with them, you even know that they appeared before you in court and you don't know what type of rating you got on each case. But tonight feels different. It feels like Oscar night at the law school without all the fake stuff. Here we are at this place on the invitation of our generous hosts, Dean Kearney and the Law Alumni Board and all of their staffs in a magnificent law school with stunning windows to the world. This room is filled with some of my best friends, Wisconsin's sharpest and most accomplished business professionals, legal minds, and community partners, and of course, our families. It is an extra special honor to share this stage tonight with 3 amazing and highly accomplished award-winning Marquette lawyers. At the Oscars, as you know, the winners use their acceptance speeches to offer thanks to their supporters before they ring the bell. Likewise, I want to thank all of the members of my production crew for helping me to achieve my big dreams of becoming a lawyer and a judge. There are so many in this room tonight, and so many more who are not here, but nevertheless sent congratulatory messages. There are so many who helped me, each person helping to place a significant and key step in the ladder that I needed to climb out of tremendous roadblocks in order to arrive in this place. I want to thank my parents, James and Frankie White, who raised me along with 10 other children in the harshest of conditions, who made us the center of their world. And I want to thank them especially for teaching me to treat any failure as just a passing lesson and not a prophecy about the path of my life. I want to thank my sisters and brothers who redefined what it meant to be part of a team, that together we could do more than just survive, but we could thrive. And two of them are here tonight. My sisters, Edna and Naomi, who picked so much cotton just so I could go to school. I want to thank my own family, Leonard Martin and Jesse White, for putting me on the highest pedestal possible while keeping me grounded. I want to thank you, Leonard and Jesse, for sharing a home filled with love, peace, song, and laughter. I want to thank my army of devoted friends, many of whom have been with me most of my life, before and after law school, in front of and on the bench. And I want to thank my colleagues in the judiciary for your support and for allowing me to be your leader, your voice. I want to thank you for coaching me, teaching me, and being my friend. We share a common bond, and we lift a heavy load every day together throughout the state. This bond is woven from the power that we have in our offices to bring good or bad upon the people we serve. We serve with the understanding that we have the trust of the people, and our collective effort is to be and make a difference for everyone that we touch. But tonight, I'm going to spend my last few seconds, or maybe even a minute, to give a very large thanks to Marquette University. My Marquette law degree was a game changer in my life. This is the place where my legal skills were developed, my resolve was strengthened, and where I experienced daunting challenges as well as untapped possibilities, which all gave me new life to my old, limited, and tired dreams. On January 16th of 2017, Dean Kearney did something that he frequently does. He writes a letter to future Marquette lawyers, and he sends them out to the alumni. I read each and every one of your letters. Sometimes I lift from them, but I always use quote marks. But this particular letter on January 16th of 2017 really touched me. It provides a fitting description of how I approach the study of law, how I approach the practice of law, how I approach my role as a judge and as a leader of judges. Dean Kearney wrote, quote, "To be open to learning, you have to want it. You have to want it. More than anything, perhaps," he wrote, "you have to read. This is a point that is difficult to overstate. Yet, you need also to be present, whether that is here at the law school or at events in the community or elsewhere in the legal profession, in both a literal and a figurative sense. You have to wade in and give things a try, especially during school, while the lifeguard is still on duty. Those lifeguards," he wrote, "include not just those of us at the law school, but the hundreds of volunteers, some of them Marquette lawyers, others not, who make common cause with us in pro bono work." He wrote, "If you do these things, you will learn. You will position yourself to learn much more in your common lives in the law." End of quote. Everybody needs lifeguards, even those who can swim. I was fortunate and am forever grateful to lifeguard Phoebe Weaver-Williams, who shoved me out of a career path that was quite successful. She gave me the example that a detour in your life's journey is not a defeat. She was the one who pulled me out of a river of other opportunities and sent me packing to Marquette Law School's door. And I have a footnote for you, Kate. The man that I sat and waited to meet with was your dad, in an office somewhere in the old ugly building. Then there were others, too many to name, but I have to call these. I can't call them my three sons because they're older than me. There were three: Dean Robert Bowden, Dean Frank DeGeer, who's here tonight, and Associate Dean Charles Mentkowski. They did not wait for me to sink or swim while I was at Marquette. These three men simply stepped in at the right time and provided a life raft so I could focus on working hard to collect my Marquette law degree. Because of so much by so many, I have had and continue to have an incredible life and journey in the law. Law has opened doors, broadened my horizons beyond belief, and given me access to opportunities to learn from judges, lawyers, professors, community leaders, professionals of all degrees, here at home and around the world. As a judge, I have captive audiences. People are glad to listen to me. All those lawyers want to make me happy, so I take advantage of it. And having these captive audiences give me an opportunity to share my views, not views only on the law, but also on the value of other things, such as the value of diversity. And I use my personal story and my journey as an African-American woman to motivate others who may feel marginalized or that their dreams must be deferred. I am grateful for what being a Marquette lawyer has done for me as a law student, practitioner, judge, and as a judicial leader. But as I end my acceptance speech, what I am most excited and pleased about is what my law degree allows me to do for others. Marquette Law School Dean Bowden left us with one of the most profound statements about lawyers. He said, "A lifetime spent in the service of law is a public service in the front rank of public services, because justice remains the great concern of humankind." He further wrote, "To participate in the quest for justice at any level and in any context is a privilege and an honor." Thanks to all of you from the bottom of my heart for your generous consideration, for valuing my work, and by doing so, what you've done tonight is pledge to continue to do good work on this journey together to be the difference. Thank you.
Well, I should have the good judgment to leave it there, but I cannot. I do have one final announcement this evening. Since we moved to Eckstein Hall some 7 or so years ago, we have had the privilege each year to present the Ralph J. Harris Law School Citizen Award. Like the Harris Lounge, which is in front of me or behind you on the second floor, this award remembers the late Ralph Harris, class of 1942, who was a great influence on us at the law school, and for me, at least, was the original advocate for a new building. This annual award is underwritten by the Harris Foundation, which is led in part by Ralph's law partner, Bill Farrell, who is here this evening. The Ralph J. Harris Law School Citizen Award is a scholarship given to a rising 2L at Marquette Law School for his or her second year of study at Marquette. It seeks to recognize someone who adds to the spirit of the law school, demonstrating a broad spectrum of qualities, including professionalism, a willingness to assist fellow students, and involvement in the law school and broader community, and other indicia of the Marquette University mission. The selection process involves faculty and administrators, as well as current first-year students. The former submit nominations, out of which 3 candidates are selected to appear on a ballot for voting by the first-year students. I am delighted to announce that the 2016 recipient of the Ralph J. Harris Law School Citizen Award is Jason Perkeiser. Jason, would you please come up here with me? Stand right here. Jason is originally from Chicago. It appears to be the north side, I'm sorry to say. He worked for many years as a firefighter and a paramedic in northern Illinois, battling risk and injury. His work continued as a trainer of firefighters and public safety personnel. Inspired by his mother's example, Jason decided to pursue a bachelor's degree, graduating summa cum laude from Northern Illinois University in 2015 with a degree in history. He and his family now call Cedarburg, Wisconsin home. That is background. Most relevantly here, Jason was selected by his peers for his positive effect on the Marquette University Law School community in a variety of ways during these early months of his entry and their entry into the legal profession. In ways formal and informal over the course of the year, Jason has impressed the faculty and his peers alike with his professionalism, work ethic, and warmth. I want to commend Jason, as well as the other finalists for the Heroes Award, Arusa Kabani and Kelsey Stefka, who will receive partial scholarships next year, for what they are doing on a daily basis to build the Marquette Law School community and the profession and society more generally. You inspire us. Once again, warm congratulations to our award winners, Susan Allen, Kate McChrystal, Tom Olejniczak, and Maxine White. Please join me in a concluding round of applause, and let me hand it back over to Peter Ramirez.
Thank you all for foregoing the Milwaukee Bucks game and for coming here tonight to help us honor these outstanding Marquette lawyers. This is the conclusion of our program, but we encourage you to stay, mingle, network, enjoy the delicious appetizers, the libations. They're all ready for you. So thank you very much. Have a good night and a safe trip back home.